Are you ready? Hey, think you could tell us what to do? You think you could tell us what to wear? You think that you're better? Well, you better get ready. Bow to the masters. Break it down!
Coming to you from Capes HQ, this is another episode of Flipside Focus. First one with the triage of hosts. From a long way back, this is the Indie Comics podcast, talking all about indie comics. I'm your host, Dodgy, and with me as always, that is Captain Fuzzybeard himself, the random dude, Josh.
Holy hell, I haven't been called Captain Fuzzybeard in a long-ass time. Holy shit.
There you go. Back into the routine of things. And with us, as always, the CEO of Comic Crusaders and Undercover. That is the one, the only, our Mega. Say hola!
Hola, amigos, Wepa and Dodgy. Great to have you back in the UCPN fold. Welcome, Papa. How you been?
Pretty good, bro. I've been through a little bit of a roller coaster of emotions, more than, say, Peter Parker has had girlfriends. But no, but getting better, and I'm really glad to be back. Really glad, most of all, to talk about indie comics and shining the spotlight on the comics that really get no spotlight. So I'm really happy to be back. I'm really happy to be talking indie comics, and thank you guys for, allow me to jump back on and talk about comics. So, look, we're going to keep it short and simple for this episode, as we're just going to talk about a triage of books that have been sent to Al himself. I'm really excited to jump into it. Josh, what have you picked up?
Well, if you guys have listened to me on the Definitive Crusade, we talked about Heroes in Crisis and Sanctuary in that, but the book that I'm talking about today is so much better than what DC could have done with Sanctuary and that whole storyline. We are talking about Dr. Blank, Superhero Shrink. This book is amazing. I'm just going to start it off by saying that. Created by John Kovalik and Christopher Jones. And Dr. Blank is just that. He is a shrink for superheroes. We get to meet the hero, or Mr. Omnipotent, or Captain Omnipotent, who is meeting with Dr. Blank, and it's just the conversation that they have. No HIPAA privacy laws were violated in this. It is completely clear in that respect. You don't need to worry. But I have to admit, to listen or to read what Dr. Blink is saying and him just kind of ripping Captain Omnipotent a new one about all of his issues really made this book fun. At some point, this is something that all superheroes run through, like having to have someone to talk to about everything that they go through. And this book does that in such a great fashion. John and Chris really did a great job with the writing of the book. It's got a really nice flow to it. And then the art style, I love the black and white approach to this. It has that newspaper comic strip feel to it. It's very clean in the way that it was done. All in all, a fantastic book, and one that this needs to be added to your guys' collection. Plain and simple. And if you don't, then Dr. Blink will tell you your issues.
Yeah, I'm with you there, man. This publication from Dork Storm by these creators is it's fantastic. It's a hell of a fun read. I mean, although the usage of the words for their superhero, I hope they don't get any trouble for that. Kind of too close for comfort, but yeah, definitely the topics that they discuss, the stories of Doctor Blink and his run-ins with not just Omnipotent but other superheroes. We even get his origin of how this whole idea started for him.
Mhm.
An entrepreneur that was having a rough time in business to have this very chance encounter that wound up working very much his way, in a sense, if you will. Definitely a fantastic read, a lot of fun.
And
I
it's not
definitely enjoy reading it.
and it's not your traditional origin story either. And I think that was the
Mm-mm.
other thing that I really enjoyed about it is
Mm-hmm.
the fact that not it is an origin story, but it's not, which I think is a lost art in comics now.
And the breakdown, because I love the use of the paneling, very old school. Even the cover, even when you turn into the first page, just like back in a day, you get this action panel that kind of lets you know what the story may be about, if you
Hmm.
will, and then you get into the story, and it was fantastic. And then they broke that story into a few chapters, a couple of different tales. Definitely worth your money.
Oh, absolutely. And I appreciate that they did not do 9 panel pages.
But they had that old school look nonetheless, and it was fantastic. Dodgy, did you have a look at it?
Yeah, definitely. I really like the art style. It kind of had, especially for Captain Omnipotent, his appearance looked very Bruce Timm ish in his approach, very much Superman. Like,
Hmm.
and you're right, Al. Like they could get into a bit of trouble using the names because
Right, you know.
it just went through thesauruses for all the characters.
I mean, I get the humor, but oh man, you know how DC is. It may be a
Yeah,
little too close for comfort, for real.
I
Hmm.
know. But yeah, it's very much a parody book. And you're right, Josh. It's what are the characters actually thinking when they're going out fighting crime? It's really good to get you know, a shrink's perspective. But I like the panel with the no mind readers or telepaths. That was
Oh,
hilarious.
that was
Hmm.
hysterical, man.
Yeah.
The poor guy didn't even get to say anything. I love that.
Yeah, yeah, that was pretty funny. But yeah, I just love his sassy nature. And even if you check out what's it, Dr. Blinkshrink's Twitter handle is giving free sessions for people who watched Endgame. So it is,
Uh,
yeah, it's pretty funny. And even the website, it looks like it's like the actual web page
Listen,
looks
I
like an
know.
actual book page, with the lines from.
I'm sorry, guys. I know this is an indie show, but I must ask: has anyone seen that movie?
Yes, I
Not
have.
yet. So don't say a word, or
No, no, I'm
I
not
will
gonna say.
snap my fingers and both of you will go.
All right. What I'm gonna say, Dodgy, would you agree in my assessment in one word? Awesome.
Yes.
Okay. Little
Yeah.
hesitant. I'll say
Yeah. I mean,
that's another podcast. All right.
yeah.
All
I,
right.
yeah. And, yeah. Yeah. But I won't say any more.
All
I
right.
appreciate that. I'm more
It,
excited for the
like,
idiots.
yeah. The spoiler, like, that's fucked up. I was so glad I saw. This is a little bit off topic, but I went and saw the second. Sorry, the first Star Wars movie. I saw 2 weeks after release that Han Solo died. So I was really impressed that I didn't know that after 2 weeks of that the movie was released. So, and I'm sorry to any of you that have not yet seen the Star Wars movie that came out 3 years ago, but catch up with someone. But that movie was released 3 years ago. So yeah, so I was actually impressed. So look, I think hand on heart, if anyone's going to go out and spoil the movie for everyone, they've got no heart. That's a
Yeah.
fucked up.
Well, it's just the world that we live in with the social media. But again, that's even another podcast and how how people should use and just ethics and morals in using social. That's
Hmm.
another podcast.
Yeah.
I think Josh would love to talk about that one because I know he has a lot of opinions on the use of social.
Oh, yeah. We'll save that for another show.
Yeah, another show. But yeah, definitely, Doctor Blink, superhero shrink is definitely worth a look.
It
It's
is.
not-
It is. It is.
So what have you picked, Al?
Well, mine's listen. I know that I tend to say that I don't like being political and whatnot, but just taking the politicization out of this for a moment, Ed Peso Hero, Borderland, is my pick by Hector Rodriguez III. Um, Independent creator has been out for a minute. Has done some stuff, and his Latino creator. And this is a Spanglish book, if you will. Has a lot of Spanish along with English language, and I know maybe not many people would appreciate it, but I do, being Latino, that I'm able to read both English and Spanish in this. Although he should definitely translate for those that don't know.
Hmm.
All right, Hector, please do that for those people. That way they could appreciate the book a little bit more. But if you look at the artwork, it's great and decent. It's this hero that's kind of dealing with the current issues with immigration and the, if you will, camps where they're holding illegal immigrants. And Peso Hero was basically, being of Mexican descent, is adamantly against his people being held against their will in such camps, and obviously goes out and frees them. The president obviously is very much against his plans and is trying to obviously organize folks to grab El Peso Hero and stop the shenanigans from going on and embarrassing him even further. Within the book, we do get a little context into the history of El Peso Hero and about himself and a little bit about his family, if you will, and where a certain feature that he has that is basically his, let's say, logo, is where did it come from, story behind that, which is fucked up, something I could see in a movie as well. I see it's an interesting book, cool read, politics aside, fun art, cool story, and it's heartfelt for for people that are going through that. When my heart goes out to them as well. I wish no one had to go through that now, but again, with this book, it kind of puts that into the forefront. But it's not force fed, and it's just a fun little superhero story of this one individual within their community, stepping up to at least help who he can, with the gifts that he is given.
Yeah. Dodgy, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, you're right, Al. It's a very touchy subject, and I thought this would be a good contrast to the previous book, which was very lighthearted. This one seems to be very bleak, very dark, and it really talks about the human emotions that go ahead with. It's almost like human trafficking, taking these people from different locations without their consent, against their will, and I think it really. It humanizes it. But I do wish, as you mentioned before, for those of us who, I know a bit of Spanish, but not enough to be, to translate absolutely everything that's going through there in terms of how the people are feeling. But I do respect the use of the Spanish language. He's talking to people who cannot speak any English. It's a good thing to have, but maybe have something in the corner like they're doing in a lot of Japanese manga. They actually have it translated into English for those of us who can't read it. So, but other
Do you
than
think
that,
he did it on purpose to make you feel uncomfortable? Yeah, right.
I don't think so.
No, I don't think it's the intent. I think the intent is to keep it for those who are. I think it's to show respect to those of who are feel like, I won't really want to use the word punish, but I feel like it's showing respect to those who are actually going through that tough situation. Maybe make our situation a little bit tough by having to understand what's going on, but nothing can compare to what those people are going through. Like, no way. No. But I do like the choice of colors. I do. I kind of do feel the art is very much. I don't know. I don't really want to use the word. It seems a little bit of like copying photos in a
Okay.
degree. Yeah, like tracing photos in terms of the art style because it doesn't seem
But
like original art.
I see
But
what you mean. It's probably the heavy black lines that are used
yeah,
around the
I-
characters.
yeah. But other than that, I mean, the coloring is beautiful. And I mean, it's a tough situation. It's a dark situation. It can't be, absolutely gorgeous but the art style works in these moments, and I really do like they've got a bit. They're involving President Trump as well in it, so they're making him. I suppose making him I think it's falling over my words just then, but yeah, but I mean, realistically, we do better to be a villain. Really, he's
Yeah,
almost level of Palpatine,
he's
President
the
Palpatine, but
he's the wig wearing Lex Luthor, bro.
pretty much. But he looks more like Palpatine, in my opinion.
And Orange Palpatine.
But I mean, in honesty, I think it's a good read. But I feel like I don't know. They could do a bit more with it to fantasize a little because it seems to me it's like I don't know,
A little too real.
little too real. Yes.
Yeah, I know how I ask for escapism. When I read
Yeah.
comics, but with that, this has that sort of escapism because we don't have this type of hero in real life, and maybe we wish we would. So in that sense, is where I find the fun in it, because
Yeah.
what if, dude?
Yeah. I think Zorro would probably be the nearest character to that.
Yeah, right.
It's American imperialism in California, but it's I don't know, it just seemed a bit too real, a bit too sad.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah. So
Well,
yeah,
that's his point. That means that Hector Rodriguez hit the point home with that. You know what I mean?
pretty much, yes. And it really does. Yes, you're right. It really makes sense in that level. Yeah.
All right.
And I mean, it is a good read. I mean, not trying to detract the book. It is still worthy a look at. It's, you just you got to know what you're going to be in for.
Yeah, definitely listen, because I know you being from Oz, and there's obviously issues over there, in regards to immigration too. I'm pretty sure, or at least stature of a certain folks and whatnot that I see in the news. Sadly,
yeah, we have people being transferred to Papua New Guinea, and we had a time where people were transferred to Malaysia. We get all these asylum seekers coming by boat, and our government is sending them off to other countries to get processed,
crazy.
and they're like getting treated like animals rather than humans.
So let's get the insight of the one and only random dude here, man, because we're eating up the show because this is a heavy topic. So let's get his opinion and move on to the next one because it's getting heavy.
So, I actually enjoy these books that put the politics in it, and then to be able. The trick is being able to read it and taking the politics out.
Okay.
This book, as I was reading through it, I was looking at it kind of like more along the lines of, any sort of lore or story that people come up with or have based on real events. You look at. I'm thinking. We'll take Robin Hood for example. Robin Hood was a real person, but the stories that we have are based off of a mixture of the fiction with the real person, if that makes sense.
Okay.
And that's how I was looking at this book as I was going into it. It's kind of that same concept, taking the real events and creating this mythos based on what's going on. you know, and that allowed me to kind of keep the right perspective and not let the politics take over. It allowed me to enjoy the book for what it is.
Okay.
I do agree. I would have liked to have at least some translation, but I appreciate what they did having the Spanish dialogue. I think it was well done. I just would have appreciated at least some sense of translation just to know what's going on.
Just a little bit of extra help there.
Exactly. Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
And I don't think that takes away from the book.
Absolutely, it wouldn't. I mean, Hector, you see, guy, that was my. And this is coming from a Latino. We gotta have everybody understand the book. Once we make it too ethnic, I think that it kind of scares people away from the book.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah,
don't know if you agree with that.
I do. You know, anytime any book touches on any sort of ethnic or political issues of any kind, it can cause some people to potentially get cold feet.
Yeah.
With this one, you know, to anyone who's listening, you know, there's no reason to get cold feet about the book. It's a great book.
Yeah.
Just keep the perspective in the back of your mind to keep the politics out and enjoy the story for what it is.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Because I know there's a story that Dodgy picked that's definitely that's really dope. And this is outside the realm of anything. This is total fun.
Yeah.
So I had so much fun reading this. Thank you for picking this one, Dodgy. Hit him with your pick.
Yep. As you know, when it comes to cosmic and space and comics, this is my cup of tea. What I chose was Atomic Pulps presents Space Crusaders.
Crusaders, baby.
Yeah, baby. Yes, exactly. That's why I picked it. But no, this is actually a golden era character by the name of Rex Dexter. It's written by Christopher Mills with art by Peter Grau, with colors by Matt Webb. So yeah, Rex Dexter is a golden age character. He was created by Dick Briefer in 1939. So
hey, wait a minute, is that a real name? Dick Briefer.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. And there's actually a character using his last name in as one of the characters in the book, which I think is a nice little a little side of respect to the creator. So yeah. And, it's a nod. I really appreciated that. So yeah.
You see what I'm saying though about the name? Is it real?
Well, it
really is that a pseudonym? Because
No,
that name, Dick Briefer, you get it? I'm sorry.
All right. Let's just be a little bit more.
Welcome back to Flipside Focus, folks.
We'll be seeing you on the flip side. So yeah, it's just it's a cosmic story about Mars-born Rex and his companion Sind, who travel through space. The art style in this is like another level. I think it's kind of reminded me of the 1980s Steve Rude's Nexus in terms of the level of detail in the art.
So agree with you, buddy.
It is like off the charts, this art, and I think Steve Rude is probably one of the greatest comic book cosmic artists I've ever seen, and I really dug it. Even the space, even the backgrounds of space had that, Kirby / Jim Starlin style of, space and how deep you could, it's just all these little dots to portray stars and little cosmic solar systems, but it's absolutely gorgeous. So, Rex and Sin travel through space. They find this sphere, which is not a planet, it's a space station. Once they enter this space station, they uncover some alien robots that, obviously are enemies, as they would be. I mean, all robots with tentacles are enemies. And then they find a prehistoric world where they find another they find a T-Rex, and Rex is like, oh, he's got the same name as me, and they meet these, prehistoric tribal people who happen to speak English.
Happen, right? Isn't that funny?
Yeah, happen to speak English. I was like, yeah, pretty surprised by that. Yeah, but I mean, it's a decent story. But I do feel like they could do a lot more moving on. But I really, really appreciated the layout of especially the front cover. It had that, golden age.
For me, 70s, Bronze Age.
70s appeal, and even kind of reminds me of those Walmart, the DC Giant books as well.
Mhm.
They have that.
There's 40 pages, brother.
Yeah, 40 pages. So yeah, it's actually quite a decent read, and and I honestly had fun with it, but discovering that this was the Golden Age character, because I felt like using Rex Dexter as the main protagonist, I was like thinking to myself, might just do a little bit of research on Google, and finding out that this was a Golden Age character.
Yeah.
I thought that might have been just a reprint, so I had to go a little bit deeper again. And yeah, finding out that finding about Dick Briefer and all the characters that he drew in the 30s and 40s, even up to the 50s, was actually amazing. It was an amazing discovery, and looking at the Atomic Pulp website at atomicpulp.com, you will also see other Golden Age characters that bringing to fruition as well. So I really respect that. But yeah, I'm more intrigued in terms of how it's going to go in the in an ongoing monthly series, or if it's going to be an anthology series. But definitely worth a look. Did you guys check it out?
Oh hell yeah, I did. This book was amazing.
Yeah, brother.
Okay, so the story was fun, but what really made this book shine is the artwork.
Yes.
The artwork in this put the big two to shame. Straight up, put the big two to shame. It was that damn good.
But for me, Josh, it's not just the artwork, but it's the use of the panels. And kind of that throwback feel to it. I mean, this had a 100% throwback feel.
Yeah. No, I agree. And it was so well done, so well put together. Even the lettering was on point.
Oh, yeah.
So
old school in the style, but yet so fantastic for now. Worth every penny.
Oh, absolutely. This is what... If you want to set the baseline on what you would consider to be an amazing book, an amazing comic book, this sets the bar. Hands down. That's all I have got to say about that.
Yeah, it's just the tone, and even just the boring panels were like the most spectacular piece of artwork. It's like I would actually own one of the panels just as a if I get it blown up to like a painting size, that would be spectacular.
Yeah, no, and I absolutely agree. This is, I don't want to necessarily use the term boring panels. The panels that didn't have a lot going on were much more exciting than some of the action-packed panels in the big two.
Oh, no doubt.
They were using a very 70s style, that's why. And it just fit for now, and especially for the specific story.
Yeah, well, and with this story being kind of that science fiction, cosmic, gets Dodgy all excited in a way that would bring the green thong back.
Oh my God! I think he just wedged himself.
This type of book has to go balls to the wall, color and illustration, and yep.
Yeah, but you guys are also leaving out another thing. This book is not just about Rex. but there's also, like in the style of those old school books, we have a backup story
Oh yeah.
in Lance Lewis, Space Detective.
Oh, and having the multiple stories in that was
You know,
fantastic.
isn't it? I mean, again, worth every penny. Listen, this is not a 15-minute read.
No.
Yeah, it's not.
It's not.
Definitely not.
And
And I
that's why
just
it's worth the money.
yeah, and they've got like information about the characters throughout the book. So I mean, there are other books coming out, so they're trying to like just like
Yeah.
throw these little teasers in about the other characters they're going to bring to the forefront, and all of them are all golden age characters.
And
I
how about the letter thing? I mean, doesn't it look so old school?
Yeah,
Wonderful. It's the teletransmissions. I love it.
and I love how it opens with I know what you're thinking. How can we get letters out when the book's just been released? But they said we did release it a little bit earlier to ask for feedback. So I was like, oh, good on you guys. Like,
Right? Exactly. And they actually printed, from people, which is pretty cool. And
yeah,
then in the style of old comics, you get the little yellow box with the next issue. You get a little information about Rex, and they're even talking about the real Cuba Cola story.
yeah,
And for those of you that want to know what Cuba Cola is, buy the book.
okay,
Right?
Damn straight.
yeah,
Yeah, man. This listen, just real talk, just to let everybody know, transparency, because that's all I'm about. It was Dave Elliott from International Comics Collective team that had put me on to Atomic Pulp and what they're doing. He said, "Al, you got to take a look." So I'm glad that my wonderful team over here is so receptive to what Atomic Pulp is doing. Hope we get access to see even more of their future products.
I would like to see a villain with my likeness. Call him the random villain, something. That's what I would love.
You know what, when you say the random villain, I kind of see you more as of a Howard the Duck type of villain.
Oh, actually, I don't know. I don't know if that's an insult or a compliment.
It's not. It's not. Read the old school series, and you see the randomness of his villains. You would be so perfect for that randomness. You get it?
Absolutely.
I'm trying to help you. Dodgy's laughing. He's trying to make it look bad. Stop it, Dodgy. You started trouble.
no, I could imagine it. That's why I'm laughing in agreement.
And his name
either
would
way.
be Captain Fuzzybeard versus Howard the Duck.
You know what? There we go. I want to see Captain Fuzzybeard in these books.
Let's see. Hey, you know what? If they did it for Impractical Jokers Brian Quinn, we're gonna have to do it for Josh too. The random dude.
I'm on board.
And what would be wonderful is that you be this one character that appears in every comic that gets randomly killed.
And I have the
Didn't
ability.
he die in the last issue? Like, yeah, but it just happens every issue.
Yeah, he just
He
happens
was
to come
Kenny.
back. It was a random coincidence.
The random Kenny. All right, enough talk about death over here. We got to start talking about some life and some stuff that I know Dodgy was talking about.
Yeah, so we're gonna jump into Kickstarter. So have you guys got a Kickstarter choice you want to bring to the forefront that listeners can check out?
I'll let Josh go first on that one.
Awesome. All right, so I picked, it's called The Traveler, a steampunk adventure. This is based out of London. The Traveler is a story about Losef. He's a poor shepherd from Georgia at the turn of the 19th century. So it's got kind of that old feel to it. However, he ends up meeting a quote-unquote a traveler, see where they got that, from a different dimension. And Losef ends up killing the guy. But as he's kind of going through all of his stuff, puts on this gauntlet that ends up transferring him to this other dimension. And this book looks absolutely amazing. Takes steampunk with I had it. I was going to compare it. So steampunk. I love the helmets. They look like the Rocketeer. If you remember that movie from the '90s, because the Rocketeer is badass. With BioShock. There we go.
Nice. Okay.
Such a great looking book. I love the pastel style of the artwork on this. It is it's being published by TPub, a British comic book publisher. So they've got 17 days left. They've still got a little ways to go on the Kickstarter, but go
by
ahead.
the time this comes out, it's gonna be how many days?
By the time that this drops,
Yes.
it'll be about a week, maybe.
Yeah, they have
Just
a week.
over a week.
Great.
So, all in all, it's still a book that is absolutely worth supporting and backing, just for the unique nature of the story. So.
Nice. I like. Interesting. Very good, my friend. I like.
I had to take at least some sort of science fiction book away from Dodgy. I had to, pick one.
All right, so let me pick something. 'Cause I want to talk about mine because you know that I love music, right?
Okay.
I love comics, right?
Okay.
And I love horror, right?
Oh boy,
I
you
don't
got
know.
you got the trifecta, didn't you?
I found the trifecta. Check this out. So there's this new up and coming comic book company called a Wave Blue World. It was founded by Tyler and Wendy Chintana back in 2005. However, as of recently, they've gotten together with Joseph Pillage, Lisa Wu, and a whole bunch of other folks to actually now start pushing the product and their fantastic lineup of products, if you will. And with that, they have a current Kickstarter for a book called Deadbeats. It's a music themed horror anthology. Now, folks, this is a 160 page full color anthology of music themed horror comics.
Good
In
hell,
a
that's
sense,
a long book.
but it's an anthology, so you're gonna get um, an array of stories, and this is gonna be centered around curiosities for sale at a particular record store. Think the old school Friday the 13th show. Remember with that oddity shop, and something meant something.
Mm-hmm.
So this is kind of the way it goes, but this is with vinyl. This is all music based. It's illustrated and written by a lot of new up and coming creators. So you're gonna get a taste of the new jacks. You're gonna get a taste of some old school folks like Rachel Pollack, Richard Case. You know what I mean? They haven't worked together in 25 years, but guess what? They're working together on this book. All right. You got Brett Shinover, camera and the audio, Jen Hickman, Matthew Ehrman. A lot of people love his scout books. You got Eva Carrera. You got Kwanzaa Osayefo. I'm sorry I pronounced that wrong, but he's doing the book Black. You got Eric Palicki, the brother of the actress Palicki, that is a Mockingbird on a Shield. Uh, with some books. You got Steens up in there from Lion Forge. Vita Ayala, that's all over Valiant right now, contributing to this book. I mean, you got a whole bunch of amazing new creators, current creators, and up and coming creators. There's a fun Kickstarter that by the time this drops, you're gonna have 7 days to pledge. Again, the pledges start from $1 and go as high as let's do this as $100. But again, this is awesome. If you're a horror fan, if you're an independent fan, if you're a music fan, this is as Josh stated, the trifecta for you. It's fun, it's horror, and it's 160 pages. Well worth your money. You're not going to be there for 15 minutes. You're not going to be there for an hour. You're a slow reader. You smoke a blunt, have a drink, read this book. You'll be there for an hour plus. Well worth the money.
Well, we know what Al's going to be doing.
I'm trying to slow down, folks, but Blue Wave is going to force me to uh, force myself into that other world through Deadbeats. Check it out on Kickstarter. 7 days. I mean, listen, right now it has reached its goal. Its goal was 25,000. It has now reached $28,000. All right? And it should be more by the time this drops. And hopefully, after listening, even more people will contribute to this amazing project that I give a total thumbs up to.
The one thing I want to mention about Kickstarters, for anyone who's never listened to the show, in this scenario where the project has already met its goal, that means when you pledge, when you back the project, you are guaranteed to get it.
Yeah, not just guaranteed to get it. As people unlock certain tiers, you may even get a little extra stuff for your pledge out of it. It's a blessing upon a blessing.
It is, and also too, if they exceed the budget, that means the quality of what you're getting is going to be better, because the more money that you're putting in, surely enough, the people who are making the book will make the book better.
Absolutely.
Better, spend a little bit more on the quality, so maybe the edges of the book will be welded together better. The paper would be better. So I mean, there's so much to it that it's going to enhance the product. So
listen, guys, that I've had a bad taste in my mouth through some Kickstarters based on some actually popular creators. But I don't let that deter me, because independent creators like this that are making such amazing little projects, dude, just kick in. Please, just kick in. I'm going to kick into this one because I'm a horror fan, I'm a music fan, and I'm an indie fan. And I think Blue Wave is actually trying to bring some really fun stuff out here. So, you have our support, Blue Wave. Wave Blue World, actually. Wave Blue World. I'm sorry, let me get that right. Wave Blue World.
Wave Blue World. Nice.
Yeah.
Just before I talk about my pick, I just want to make an honorary mention. Jim Starlin recently put Kickstarter for the Dreadstar Omnibus. I mean, they hit 100% of their budget or their goal in 12 days.
12 days. Not even. Were they going for a month?
Yeah.
Wow. Not even in half the month. Awesome.
Exactly.
That goes to show people want good stuff, man. Stalin's Dreadstar was some business, brother.
It was, and it was published by I think 4 different publishers. So have it all collected into one omnibus, which is going to be a monster of a book.
Wow.
Dodgy, Stalin.
Dodgy, question for you. I don't know if you're familiar with the industry, but like you said, this is the book that was published across multiple publishers, right? Yeah. And to create an omnibus, right? How did he even work out that type of agreement to allow, books published by others to all be combined into one?
Because I think he was a sole owner, because I know the first Dreadstar was published by Marvel. Started with E.
Epic.
Epic, yeah. So Epic was a subsidy of Marvel, just like you think of Mark Millar when he was using
with the Millar World.
With Millar World was actually first published by Marvel with Kick-Ass. I think it was Iconic or Icon. I think that was the name.
Icon, yes.
In print. Yeah, and then he went on to Image, and that's where he stayed ever since. But I think because it's his own creation, no matter which publisher wanted to take the book on, they were taking on the man. They were taking in Jim Starlin. So Jim Starlin was, as you can be aware, he was the writer/artist. But I think when it went over to I think it was Malibu. Yes, when he went over to Malibu, he kind of handed the reins over to a different writer slash artist because, obviously he was the supervisor. He owned the rights to that character. So I think to answer that, he was the sole owner of that creation, and therefore the publisher would just carry in the print. They would just carry over the print. Because, if you think about it, like from the early days, if it was Epic through Marvel, if they owned the character, there'd be no way in the world they could have carried it over to another.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think
You know what? Kudos to Starlin for that, man. He's probably one of those that definitely pushed that creator-owned agenda. So kudos to him, dude.
Yeah, nothing went over to First, and then over to First Complications, and then Malibu. And I think it could Malibu. May had a short stop over in Valiant, but that might have been only what's it called, Star Slayer. I think that was only Star Slayer, but it was the three publishers. Yes, so that's why I'm really happy that there was an omnibus created. It is, as you said, Al, it is a fantastic read. All of the stuff. Kudos to him, and I'm really happy to see that people are taking notice, especially being the creator of Thanos, and the art style in Dreadstar do carry even this.
Yeah, but dude, remember, not just Thanos. Gamora, the Warlock, the whole Infinity Gauntlet idea, all that stuff, man. Remember, what was it, Thanos' quest when he first started looking for the glove? If people haven't read that series, you have to read Thanos' quest. It's a 2-book prestige format for Marvel from back in the day. And that's when Thanos' plan really started getting hatched out. And that is what led into the Infinity Gauntlet series, which was obviously fantastic back in the day. I bought that shit out the shop on day one. And I remember just running straight to my room, dropping my book bag, and let me get into the story. And I was just fascinated. Because I shout out to 13 Crusader. He was the one that put me onto Thanos' quest. That led me into my love for Starlin and then everything he did before and after that.
So Dreadstar is pretty much a carryover because, as you said, Thanos was created in the late 70s. Dreadstar was early 80s, so it's pretty much within his cosmic prime.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Within his cosmic prime, so it is definitely.
I love that. We gotta hashtag that shit, Cosmic Prime. Where, Bob? That sounds like a motherfucker. That sounds like he could beat up Optimus Prime and Megatron.
Absolutely. So let me jump into my book. So my book is I believe it's an all ages book, but judging by the art, there's no warning. It's coming out of Pontypridd, UK. There's another UK book called The Adventures of Pup and Grumpercorn.
Oh, I saw this one. This looks amazing. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so it's a unicorn who appears to be this Grumpercorn, and Pup is a dog. So it's an anthology series, 32 pages. It includes stories like King for a Day, Breakfast at Tiffany's, A Fistful of Donuts, Inner Space Wars, and the Snack Down. So Snack Down is the final story, and looking at the art is very
I love it.
It kind of has that Ren and Stimpy feel to it. Pup and the Professor are going through. It looks like they're going through inner space, but through Grumpercorn's nostrils. So they they're just going through space. And they find this gigantic alien called the Neville, and then they get bogies, or are they boogers or boogies? Bogies.
Grumpercorn's face is fucking killing me on the cover. Oh my god, he looks like such a schmuck.
Yeah, he does not look happy.
Right? He looks like he's the asshole of the two, for sure.
Yeah, he does. But no, it looks like a fun read. it's a 32 page UK style, so I think it's a bit bigger than the American style of comics. So if you think about 2000 AD, or if you've got any, or if you've got access to the UK Transformer comics, they were bigger than the American size. So I think if you're looking at something, the page is going to be bigger, and I guess it's going to be more in your face to look at.
It's going to be the standard magazine size for the US, because like the 2000th edition or issue of 2000 AD, I actually have the UK version, and I was like, oh, it's bigger than what I'm used to.
Yeah, it really, Josh? Oh my God. Okay, that's another show. Let's not talk about that here.
Yeah.
That'll be a success show for him. All right. Oh, I get it though. Yeah, the European market is so different in the size of their books. It's just crazy to me because I get stuff from Cinebook, and to see that the varying sizes are so much outside different than what we are used to in America. I mean, even if you go to South America, do you know that the comic books have edges?
Really?
Yeah, I've had Mexican DC comic books, and they're not, those, square edges. It's rounded edge comics.
Wow.
That's weird.
Yeah, it looks very weird, and in the Spanish language, obviously, I'm not used to. Even though I'm Latino, I'm like, wow. Yeah, rounded edge. It's very interesting to see how other countries treat the format of their books. Because, for example, again, I know this in the show, but with Savage Sword of Conan and Marvel, they released a new series, but why not go the magazine format? How I remember it.
Yes, I do remember that.
So yeah, the new series is not like that. It's just standard size, and I want to bring back that old school size. I like what you just said. If this book is that size, you have me sold. I like that magazine style. So it's like you said, more in your face, more to read. You really appreciate the art because it really is in your face. You could appreciate the detail. I mean, it looks so cartoony, like you said. It looks wonderful. So Ren and Stimpy, like you said. It looks like a fantastic, fun, animated read.
Yes, definitely. And they've got 3 days to go. They're see, I'm looking at it. See, it's originally published in UK pounds, but in Australian dollars, their goal is it does actually translate to the pound. So their goal is 1,200 UK pounds. They're sitting at 1,048. So they've got about 150 pounds to go. 3 days to achieve that goal.
So in US dollars, since it converted on mine, they've got about $187 to go.
Nice.
It's funny how money changes things.
Right?
Yeah, and in Australian dollars, about $112 to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll leave that for now. But definitely, got a bit of a ways to go. But I'm really happy to see that there are 102 backers for this book. 3 days to go. If you're looking for something that you can read with kids, I think the humor is a little bit crass. So I think it's good for both kids and adults. So anyone who likes Ren and Stimpy will really dig this, and it looks like a lot of fun. Definitely worth a look.
I definitely agree. And I know before we go, I know we didn't have any news, but I just want to tell people, it's not news, but just check out Ahoy Comics Mags. They're doing a whole lot of good stuff. They picked up a book that DC Vertigo dropped.
Really?
Oh yeah. So there was this DC Vertigo book. It had religious undertones to it. Damn it, what was the name? Second Coming, right? Oh yeah. So with that, I mean, this was going to be published on DC, but apparently there was a lot of negative feedback from the religious community, and DC decided to drop it.
Yeah.
Now, with that, a couple of weeks passed. I mean, I have put this on my pull list. And unfortunately, I got very saddened that it got dropped. Now, here comes this new independent comic book company, Ahoy Comics Mag.
Mm-hmm.
And they go ahead and they tell Mark Russell and Richard Pace, which are the creators, all right, we'll publish your book. So the book is out there in the market, folks. Basically, Second Coming is a satirical comic book series in which Jesus Christ resumes his holy mission. All right, and basically God commands Earth's mightiest superhero, Sunstar. Which is most likely, obviously, or most obviously, a Superman type of character,
Mhm.
to accept Jesus Christ as his roommate and teach him how to use his power in a more powerful way. So imagine this. So you have a superhero that's Superman level that people, look up to, and you have the Messiah himself that is being basically the sidekick to the world's greatest superhero.
That's
How crazy is
great.
that? So it's just fun. People get too offended, yo. Just have a good time with the story. I mean, that is something. I don't see nothing wrong with it. Listen, Jesus is shocked at the way humans have twisted his message over 2 millennia, and he vows to straighten that out. So that's the concept of this. So Superman is going to teach him, the Superman type character, Sunstar, is going to teach him the ways to be, superheroic and hopefully change the opinion of people on what his mission statement of Jesus Christ. It's just humor, folks. It's funny, but again, I signed up immediately with Ahoy Comics with this. I'm going for it again, so I can't wait to read it myself. But I mean, doesn't that sound funny? And just, well, I mean, why would people get so crazy offended by it? It sounds like a fun take on it. What's wrong with it?
Look, are the same creators jumping on board, or is this just a reprint?
Oh no! It's the same creative team. Since Vertigo dropped it, this was creator owned. Luckily.
Yeah. Okay, but are they gonna continue writing the story?
Yes. It's the same creative team that's going ahead and taking it over to, to Ahoy Comics and printing it there instead of DC. That's all it simply is. The publisher changed, not the team.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Isn't it? So, there you go. This is indie stepping up because they believe in a product.
Yeah.
How awesome is that? This is what I want. See, this is what Flipside is about, showing folks, that indie has big cojones.
Indeed,
right,
yeah, no doubt, bro.
You tell me, Dodgy, this is your show. I don't want to be the one preaching here. Preach to the choir right here. The power of indie. Just you've been gone for months, but I know you've been reading, right? So tell me, has any comics helped you in your journey here to come back to us and get back on the A game?
I think for me, the biggest publisher that I really enjoy is Valiant, by far. They've probably been the most consistent. I'm reading Ninjak. I'm reading the Bloodshot. I've been reading the original Bloodshot, now Bloodshot Salvation, now Bloodshot Rising. All of them have been fantastic. Exo Manowar, been on that since day one. Yeah. Since volume, when they re-released it in 2017. That's been one of my favorite books. It's cosmic, barbarian, it's everything rolled into one. I love it. Even I'm really enjoying Kick-Ass. Kick-Ass I really enjoyed, especially since Malar and JR, dropped it and handed over to the new creative team. Been quite impressed with that. The new take of Kick-Ass has been amazing. Having a war vet, taking on the role and being the Robin Hood, which has been amazing. Prodigy is another book I'm reading as well by Millar World. So you got a character who is a genius, who basically is rich. It's like everything I wish I could be. Smart, rich, handsome. And he's on taking on goals that normal people can't fix. He's got a bit of MacGyver in his approach. And another book I really loved, and I hope they do make it into a TV series, because it's like a lot of Netflix advertising in this book. That is the Magic Order, also by
Yep.
Millar, with art by Oliver Copoyle. Trying to remember his name.
Copial, yeah, something
Copoyle.
like that.
Art is spectacular. It's a magic book. I'm not really big on magic, but I like, you know what, I'm going to check this out because I really like Millar's work. And dude, I was like, yep, adding this to my pull list. It's about a sort of like there's a group of magicians, and they're all being knocked off one by one, and we got to find out who the culprit is. And just the way that these other magicians die is something out of a horror movie. Like you got a woman in the taxi, and her in her door it's locked, so she cannot get out. Everyone else can get out, but this taxi gets filled with water, and just that way of dying and knowing that she knows she can just open the door and get out. The door's unlocked in terms of how it looks in the car, but because of the magic that's involved, she cannot open the door. She can't escape.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's like, and people are trying to open the door to let her out, and the car's just filling up with water. Like, it's freaky shit like that really got me. And I'm not in. Like, I'm hooked. So that's
guys, I want to end the show on something. I want to ask you guys your opinion. Don't ask me for mine. Right? But because since Dodgy talking Valiant, he mentioned Nexus before, right? I want to ask you guys something here. And Josh, you answer first.
Okay.
There's a battle. Who would win? Nexus versus Exo.
Ooh,
That's a tough one, dude. I was thinking about that shit. I was like, wait, this is a crazy battle right here.
All right, Josh, you go.
oh, damn it.
Josh's finger is clenching as he thinks about the answer.
No, my initial thought was "fuck you, Al."
Look at the disrespect. We're gonna have to have a WCW versus. I wish that game was on motherfucking streaming so I could beat your ass in a wrestling match like that. The old school N64 one.
Oh,
Just
that's cute. I would kick your ass in that. Just so you know.
I want Dodgy to be our what's his name, Mean Gene. May he rest in peace.
You know, I don't know.
You're straight Mean Gene. That'll be awesome.
Right, I'd have to say
Nexus. Stalling, bro. You're stalling.
Nexus.
Why?
Well, Nexus is, he's a badass. Not saying that Exo Man of War isn't. I like Nexus more.
All right. Dodgy, I know you're a fan of both. Yeah. And I know you're a little bit much more acquainted with Nexus than most.
Yeah, so with Nexus, he is more godlike. And to the degree he can control gravity, which means that, the thing with Exo is he's not as powerful as Nexus. However, he is a warrior. It comes to hand-to-hand combat. If Nexus were to be on the ground level with Exo in hand,
Eric of Dacia, yeah, man.
As a hand-to-hand combat, Exo would kick his ass tenfold. But at the same time, Exo is underneath the armor, the Sharlanan, I think it's how you pronounce his armor. Without his armor, he's only a man, and he's only got one arm, or one hand, I should say. But come hand-to-hand combat in a fair fight, so to speak, Exo will kick his ass. but because of the fact that Nexus is godlike in his powers, and if it came to actually using 100% of their powers, I think Exo will put up an absolute fight, but I think Nexus will be the upper hand.
There you
Mhm.
go. So 2 votes for Nexus. All righty.
He's got a
Awesome.
power of a planet. He's got a power of a sun, so he could fly through a planet and blow it up.
Yeah,
Whereas,
I got that first step. I'm so lucky.
yeah, so yeah. And what are your thoughts, Al?
Uh, I told you not to ask me, but yeah, I would agree with you. That's all. I would agree with you guys because again, it is the godlike power versus Shanhara, the suit,
All right, yeah,
which is a
sorry.
suit, versus this given power that's like the power cosmic, if you will. I'm sorry, no matter what you're wearing, you ain't beating this dude.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, a more awesome match, and maybe we'll discuss it next time, not now. But how about think about this, guys, for the next show? How about Nexus versus the Miracle Man from back from the Eclipse Comics days?
Ooh.
I'd have to read more before I can.
Yeah, especially with Miracle Man or
Oh,
Man.
yeah, okay, no problem. I'll send over the material, guys. You're gonna read and you're gonna tell me afterwards.
Absolutely, I'm looking forward to it. Just before I close up, but have you guys seen or has the Hellboy movie been bigger over in the States in terms of the launch?
Josh,
I've seen a lot for it.
You have?
I don't. I can't remember. Is it out yet? I feel
It's
bad for
it
even
is out.
asking.
Oh
Okay.
shit,
in
it is
Australia.
out.
It's
Yeah.
finished. I missed it. I'm pretty pissed off about it. It was only 11 days in Australia. Fuck. And you got Captain Marvel, who's been out almost a month and it's still going.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the big two. Gotta love that, right?
Yeah.
It's the power of
So
the big two. It's an independent movie. It's not gonna get the same marketing power that a big two film will get. I mean, out here people are divided on it, if you will.
yeah.
But it's not making a big deal of it because everybody was waiting for Endgame, and now unfortunately Hellboy is gonna be lost
Yeah.
Yeah.
in the whole mix of this new movie.
Because I was reading because I tried to look for the movie in all the theaters near where I live. They considered it like heavy violence and gore. So I'm just wondering, that's going to be a big contrast to what we saw
Well, it
in their
is. It
sort of.
is. It does have the R rating, so there was no holding back.
It's apparently more true to life to to the books that Dark Horse does. Obviously as comics they're allowed to show some gore and get crazy, and because it's cartoonish, maybe the visuals are not as effective as they should be.
Mhm.
To scare people, but now seeing it in a movie format, I get I guess people find it disturbing. But dude, look at the comics. It's being true to this nature. And I know one of our comic crusaders, Mr. David Howard, said like, "Wow, this is like true to the comics. Is that good?" So
Ooh.
I know how people argue. Oh, I want this to be like the comic book, and when it's not, they get upset. And now that it is like a comic book, people are getting upset. So what do people want,
They want
Yeah.
all the things.
right? You can't satisfy everybody, and it sucks.
No.
So as David said, this is true to life to the comics. So
Oh,
yeah, it's
good.
gonna be gory, it's gonna be fun, it's gonna be engaging, it's gonna be entertaining. If you're a Hellboy fan, you're gonna love it. If you're not a Hellboy fan, you're not gonna love it.
Yeah.
And as such, don't hate and let us enjoy it.
Yes, exactly. And also, have you guys seen the Umbrella Academy?
I have not had the pleasure of watching that yet. You, Josh?
I haven't. I need to watch it though.
Me
Yeah.
too. That and Sabrina as well, the Teenage Witch. I haven't
Yeah.
watched.
I
Well,
have issues with that one, but I'm an originalist. I like the original, and to have that be remade, I'm like,
And is anyone watching Happy, which is based on an Image comic from Sci-Fi?
I have not.
I have not. I know it's on my to watch list on Netflix, but I haven't had the chance to watch it.
Take care of that one. It's definitely a must watch. Same thing as Deadly Class, which is also based on an Image Comics book.
Mm.
Deadly Class is fire. I don't know if anybody's watched that one.
Not yet.
I
The
guess
one,
not.
well,
So
I'm still excited over the 80th anniversary showing of a particular movie.
Yeah,
On
again,
Saturday,
not
May
this is
4th.
an indie show, but
Oh, I know.
Fallon Events is doing a hell of an event.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Based on the Michael Keaton, Batman '89, starting from that and going forward. Comic Crusaders just did an awesome giveaway. We give away a couple of passes to our fans. I'm going myself to go see the Batman '89 movie in a theater once again, and hopefully this year no one blows up a bottle rocket by my leg like when I watched it the first time.
I never had the opportunity to see it in theaters because I was
Oh.
6 when it came out. So this is
Ew.
going to be
We ain't
super
that far
exciting.
apart, motherfucker. To me, I think like I'm that old.
You know, I
It's
heard.
like I'm grandfather time over here.
Well, you know what? I heard AARP is going to be sending you some stuff coming up.
In 11 years, not now. When I'm 55, all right, motherfucker. You know what? When I cut my hair, I'm gonna make sure to mail that shit to you, so you can make a wig, a toupee, and look like Donald.
Oh,
Just skip as well for good measure.
I'm gonna call him the random Donald.
no.
Ah,
That's going to bring a wonderful Mortal Kombat beating.
guess what? You say that. I'm gonna take your motherfucking challenge, dude. Cause my brother just bought me MK11. It's coming in the mail for Xbox One. I'm a beef motherfucking Baraka. And if you're waiting and willing to get chopped up by me, by all means, let's do that shit on the next Side Scrollers Battle.
Oh, Dodgy, did you see that? He made a challenge. That was cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dodgy, how dare you? He goes, yeah. Screw you too, buddy.
Yeah, gave you like what? But bro, like this has been awesome. This has been a great show.
It's been
and
fun, bro.
everyone
Thank you for coming on, Dodgy. We miss you, bro.
I miss you too, bro, and I miss everyone. So if you have not heard my voice before, check out earlier episodes of Flipside Focus 2016, 2017. I was on the show almost every episode. But yeah, just join us for the ride for the next episode. We'll be talking more indie comics, more Kickstarters. Anyone who's listening to us right now and wants to get their show on it or get their shit on our show, just contact us through Facebook, Twitter, and check us out on undercovercapes.com, flipsidefocus.com. You can search that as well. But on behalf of myself, Al, Josh, see you on the flip side.
This has been a production of Undercover Capes. Make sure to check us out on undercovercapes.com as well as on Facebook and Twitter.